Ever laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart pounding, mind racing, wondering, did she ever really love me? Or was I just a placeholder? Was it love? Or were you just a pit stop in her journey, a convenience, a distraction, something to fill the silence between her real desires? If that question haunts you, you're not alone. And no, you're not weak. But you do deserve clarity. Because what you're about to hear might just shift the way you see love, trust, and yourself forever. Let's take a deep breath together. In this video, we're diving into 6 powerful signs she was using you not from a place of bitterness, but through the steady, honest lens of Stoic wisdom, inspired by the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. And trust me, this isn't just another checklist, it's a mirror. A mirror that can help you see clearly, maybe for the first time in a long time. Have you ever felt emotionally drained, like every interaction chipped away at your spirit? Like your love was a well that never seemed to fill her cup? If so, keep watching. Because what we're about to explore might just be the wake-up call your heart has been silently waiting for. Now let me take you back to a time in ancient Rome. There once was a young Roman soldier. Let's call him Lucius. Courageous in battle, devoted to his fellow soldiers, full of hope and fire. But outside the battlefield, Lucius met her, a woman of elegance, mystery, and constant need. She knew exactly what to say when she wanted something. She praised his efforts when they benefited her, but grew cold the moment they didn't. She never lingered after sunset. And when she spoke of love, her eyes never quite met his. Lucius, overwhelmed by his feelings, kept giving his time, his energy, his savings. Until one day, without warning, she disappeared. Left alone in silence, Lucius turned to the words of his mentor Marcus Aurelius. And as he read, something shifted. The fog lifted. He wasn't broken. He was used, but not defeated. Now, let's begin with the first painful truth he uncovered, and one that may sound all too familiar. You're always giving, and she's always taking. Have you ever cared for someone so deeply that you'd do anything for them? I mean anything. You'd drive across town at 2 a.m. just to comfort her tears. You'd skip meals to afford that perfect little gift. You'd cancel plans, put your dreams on hold, silence your voice, just to keep her smiling. If you're nodding right now, or even just quietly remembering a time like that, then this part is yours. Let's walk back in time together just for a moment. Picture a man, let's call him you. Because deep down, this story holds echoes of your own. He meets her. She's laughter in motion, mystery dressed as kindness. And he thinks, finally, she's the one. At first she's sweet, grateful, attentive. Last time, we saw how giving everything to someone who only takes can feel like love. Until you start noticing the imbalance. At first, she was flirty, light, fun, charming. But then, little by little, things began to shift. Not dramatically, not all at once, just subtly. She stopped asking how your day went, but still expected you to care about hers. She made no effort to plan anything for the two of you, yet somehow always expected you to have a date, a surprise, a moment prepared. She never offered to pay, not even once, but she sure noticed when your wallet was running thin. She wasn't there to comfort you when you were low, but when she was upset, she demanded your full emotional attention, and you kept giving. Why? Because you loved her. Because a part of you hoped that one more kind gesture, one more sacrifice, might be the turning point. That she'd see your heart and finally choose to stay. You told yourself, she's just going through a tough time, or she'll come around eventually. But somewhere deep inside ... you felt it. Something wasn't right. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." But here's the thing, being a good man does not mean becoming a doormat. You were never meant to carry the weight of a relationship alone. Love isn't proven by how much pain you can endure for someone. It's reflected in how you both evolve, support, and show up for each other. It's about growth, not sacrifice. So take a moment to reflect. Did she ever genuinely ask, "How are you feeling?" Did she ever give without expecting something in return? Did she ever reach for your hand, not when she wanted attention, but when she could feel you quietly breaking inside? Because real love, it feels like calm, not chaos. It feels like being held, not used. It's about two people bending toward each other, not one constantly folding to meet the other's demands. And if, in your heart, you're realizing now that you were always giving while she just kept taking, don't run from that truth. Sit with it. Feel it. Let it sharpen your awareness. Because this story isn't here to break you. It's here to wake you up. You're not alone. So many men walk this path, blindfolded by hope, by love, by the belief that one more act of giving will finally unlock her heart. But the hard truth is she only shows up when you're giving and disappears when you need something in return. She's not your partner. She's your parasite. And that pain you're feeling right now, that's not heartbreak. That's the beginning of a rebirth. You gave your love. You gave your effort. That makes you powerful, not weak. So now the real question is, what will you do with that power? Because sometimes her affection only appears when she needs something now. Let's talk about inconsistency, the emotional roller coaster that leaves you questioning your own sanity. One day, she's distant, cold, barely responds to your texts. Her replies are short, flat, disinterested, like you're a burden instead of a priority. And then, out of nowhere, something shifts. She's suddenly warm again, laughing at your jokes like before, holding your hand like she never wants to let go. She leans in, smiles, touches you softly, and for a second, hope returns. You wonder, maybe she still cares. Maybe she's just been stressed. But here's the catch, this warmth only comes when she needs something. A favor, money, emotional rescue, or a way out of a problem she created herself. Does that sound familiar? If it does, let me tell you something important. You're not crazy. You're not needy. And no, you're not imagining it. You're simply waking up. Let's go back to Lucius for a moment. Remember him? After weeks of silence, distance, and feeling completely invisible, he got an unexpected visit one night. She showed up smiling, radiant, affectionate, magnetic. She kissed him like she meant it. She asked about his day, laughed at his stories, told him she'd been missing him, thinking of him constantly. And for a brief, shining moment, Lucius believed maybe this is the turning point. But then came the ask. She needed money to cover a small debt. Just a short-term loan. Just until next week. Just this one time. And Lucius, being the man he has helped, of course he did. But the moment the favor was granted, she disappeared again, emotionally vanished. Back to being cold, unreachable like stone, until the next time she needed something. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." And that's exactly what we're doing here, seeking the truth. no matter how uncomfortable it feels, because real affection, it doesn't just show up when it's convenient. It doesn't vanish when your bank account is low. It doesn't appear only when you're useful. And yet, so many men fall into this emotional trap. Why? Because in that moment, when she smiles, when she touches your arm, when she says she missed you, it feels good. Even if it's brief, even if it's fake, it feels like love. You want to believe that maybe this time she means it. Maybe this time is different, but deep down, you know something's off. You don't feel seen. You don't feel valued. You feel used, hollow, like a tool, not a man. So ask yourself, when was the last time she showed you love without expecting anything in return? When was the last time she surprised you with kindness just because? When was her affection truly about you, not what you could do for her? That's the test, because real love doesn't speak in conditions. Affection should be a language, not a transaction. It should show up even when you have nothing to give. It should say, I'm here for you, not you owe me. Lucius learned this lesson too late. But you don't have to. If her version of love only shows up when she's in need, that's not love. That's manipulation wrapped in affection, delivered with a smile. And you, my friend, deserve more than that. You deserve someone who holds your hand when your soul feels empty, not just when your wallet is full. #3. She avoids vulnerability but exploits yours. Let's pause here. Have you ever completely opened up to a woman? Told her things you never even told your closest friends? About your childhood wounds, your quiet fears, the guilt that wakes you at 2 a.m.? Have you ever looked her in the eyes and handed her the rawest parts of your heart, hoping she'd understand? If you have, then you know how powerful that kind of vulnerability can be. Terrifying, but also beautiful when it's met with care. But here's the question that matters most. What did she do with that vulnerability? Did she cradle it like something sacred, or did she collect it like ammunition, waiting to use it when the moment suited her? If something inside you just flinched, lean in, because you need to hear this. Let's revisit Lucius, our Roman soldier. One night, he opened up about the day he lost his brother in battle. He spoke through tears about the guilt, the pain, the haunting belief that maybe, just maybe, he could have saved him. It was the first time in years Lucius had cried in front of anyone, and she wiped his tears. She whispered, "You're so brave for sharing that." But then, a month later, during a petty argument, those same tears came back to haunt him. She threw his words in his face. She said, "Maybe if you weren't so soft, you wouldn't lose the people you love." That line, it cut deeper than any sword, because in that moment, Lucius realized something truly tragic. He had handed her his pain, and she had weaponized it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But what if the very person outside of you, the one you trusted the most, is the one poisoning the inside? That's the betrayal that hurts the most. Real intimacy is mutual. It's a two-way street. If you're laying your soul bare, and she's guarding hers behind cold walls, then something's out of balance. Here's what emotional manipulation really looks like. You reveal your scars, she listens but never shares her own. You're vulnerable, she stays distant, unreadable. And worse, when things go wrong, she flips your honesty into weakness. You talk about your fears, she calls you insecure. You open up about your past, she calls you damaged. You ask for emotional support, she says you're too much. And what's more painful than all of that? You stay because somewhere deep down, you start to believe maybe she's right. Maybe vulnerability was a mistake. But here, this loud and clear, it wasn't. Your vulnerability wasn't the problem. Your honesty wasn't the mistake. Your heart wasn't too soft. You were just giving it to someone who never deserved it in the first place. Last time, we explored what happens when your vulnerability is met with silence or worse, used against you. Now we ask a deeper question. What does love really feel like when it's genuine? And what does it feel like when it's a trap? Because love, true love, is never a one-way street. It isn't safe if it's one-sided. And your truth, your deepest emotions, is sacred. It should never be used as a weapon against you. So ask yourself, honestly and without flinching, does she open up to you the way you open up to her? Does she let you see her soul, or does she just stand there, watching you bleed quietly while she stays untouched? If she can't be vulnerable but has no problem exploiting your vulnerability, then let's call it what it is. You're not in a relationship. You're in a trap. Lucius learned this the hard way. After too many betrayals, he shut down. Emotionally numb, he went silent, not just with her, but with everyone around him. Walls went up. Connection faded. And the worst part? He stopped believing. His heart was safe anywhere. Don't let that become your story. Yes, protect your heart, but don't harden it. Guard it, not because love is dangerous, but because some people will see your tenderness as a weakness instead of the gift it truly is. And now, let's talk about something even more subtle, but just as damaging. #4. She doesn't bring peace, she brings anxiety. This one's tricky. It's not always about what she says. It's about how she makes you feel day in and day out. Ask yourself, did you truly feel peace when you were with her? Not passion, not excitement, not butterflies, but that deep, grounding calm where your heart gently says, I'm safe here. Or, did you constantly feel on edge? Did your stomach tighten before texting her? Did your chest clench every time she was out late and your messages went unanswered? Did you find yourself second-guessing your tone, your words, your timing, afraid that the wrong sentence could trigger another storm? If your heart is nodding right now quietly, painfully, then this sign is speaking directly to you. Let's check back in with Lucius. In the beginning, she was electric. He felt lucky, blessed, like he had won something rare. She had that charm, the kind of magnetism that made other men envious. But with time, something changed. Lucius noticed that when she walked into the room, he didn't feel more relaxed, he felt tense. Not like a man reunited with his love, more like a soldier bracing for battle. He wouldn't breathe easy until she smiled. He couldn't feel calm unless her mood was just right. And when it wasn't, she'd snap at him, dismiss his feelings, go cold for hours, or worse, accuse him of things he didn't even do. And slowly, without realizing it, she trained his mind to question itself. Was it me? Did I say something wrong? Maybe I'm just overreacting. Brother, this isn't love. That's anxiety, wrapped in romance, masquerading as passion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. But if the very person lying beside you is the one disturbing your soul, then you're not in love. You're in emotional survival mode. Previously, we uncovered how true love should bring you peace, not panic. When you're constantly anxious around someone, you're not in a relationship. You're in survival mode. And if that sounds familiar, Here's the hard truth. You're not in love, you're in a battlefield. But you're walking through it with no armor. See, real love doesn't spike your cortisol. It doesn't make you question your worth every day. It doesn't play with your emotions like a puppeteer pulling invisible strings. Real love is clarity. It's that steady breath in the middle of chaos. It's the voice that says, I'm here. You're safe. You don't have to keep proving your worth. But when a woman is using you, she doesn't want clarity. She wants control. And the easiest way to control someone is to keep them anxious, because anxiety breeds compliance. If she can keep you afraid of losing her, afraid of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong word, you'll tolerate anything. The jabs, the cold silences, the disappearing acts, and the worst part, you'll start to believe it's your fault, that you're too sensitive, too emotional, not strong enough, not enough, period. But let me ask you this and answer it honestly. Were you more at peace before she entered your life, or after? Because a woman who truly loves you doesn't shake your nervous system. She steadies it. She doesn't bring storms. She calms them. She doesn't leave you questioning your sanity. She helps you feel sane, grounded, whole, seen. Lucius eventually realized this. And when he walked away, he said something powerful, words that stayed with him long after she was gone. The silence I once feared became the peace I never knew I needed. Maybe you're at that point now too. Maybe it's time to stop chasing someone who only brings noise. Maybe it's time to choose the quiet strength of self-respect. And now, we move into another sign, one that's quieter, but just as revealing. Because sometimes, it's not about what she says. It's about what she doesn't say. Number 5. She never celebrates your growth. Let's take a breath and sit with that. When was the last time she looked you in the eyes and simply said, I'm proud of you? Not for something huge, not for a job promotion, not for buying a new car, but for showing up, for trying, for becoming a better version of yourself, even in small, steady steps. Can't remember? That's a sign. Let's go back to Lucius. He was the kind of man who never stopped growing. He read, he trained, he reflected. He stumbled and got back up. He learned from his mistakes. Was he perfect? Not at all. But every single day, he was a better man than the day before. And when they first met, she said that was what she loved about him. His hunger to improve, his ambition, his self-awareness. But something shifted. The more Lucius grew, the more she began to pull away. He'd share his small victories. She'd change the subject. He'd talk about a new book that expanded his thinking. She'd roll her eyes. He'd set goals, and she'd accuse him of being too obsessed with success. And when he tried to explain how important that growth was to him, previously, we saw how Lucius's growth became a threat, not a joy to the woman who claimed to love him. And that's the moment when everything changed. At first, Lucius believed she admired his ambition. But the more he evolved, the more her words turned sharp. She'd say things like, "Why are you trying to act like someone you're not?" Or worse, "Oh, you think you're better than me now." That's when it finally hit him. She didn't want him to grow. She wanted him stuck in the version of himself that served her best. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And Lucius was doing exactly that. He was becoming that man. But instead of clapping for him, she competed with him. Instead of encouraging him, she resented him. Instead of rising beside him, she tried to pull him back down. And that is not love. A woman who truly loves you will water your roots. not chop down your branches. But sadly, many men stay in relationships where their light is dimmed on purpose. Because the moment they start to shine too brightly, their partner starts to feel threatened. Here's the truth. A woman who's using you doesn't want you to outgrow her influence. She won't celebrate your wins because your progress reminds her of everything she's refusing to become. Your independence? It scares her, your confidence. It threatens her control. So what does she do? She minimizes your efforts, mocks your ambition, dismisses your goals. And slowly, without realizing it, you start shrinking. You stop sharing your excitement. You tone yourself down just to keep the peace. You begin to betray the very man you were becoming. So ask yourself this, and don't look away. Why are you with someone who doesn't clap when you rise? Love isn't just passion. It's partnership. It's standing beside someone, even as they evolve beyond who they were yesterday. Lucius came to understand that real love doesn't fear your growth. It encourages it. It celebrates it. It walks with you, step for step, on that path. You weren't born to shrink. You weren't created to play small just so someone else feels comfortable. You are meant to rise, to evolve, to become. And anyone who can't handle that growth doesn't deserve to stand in your future. #6. You're not yourself anymore. This is the final sign. And it's the most heartbreaking of all. Who have you become since you started loving her? Be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror. Do you even recognize the man staring back at you? Because if you don't, that's not growth. That's loss. Let's return to Lucius one final time. In the beginning, he had fire in his soul. He was passionate, curious, full of laughter and light. He trained hard, joked with his comrades, pursued his dreams, and made time for the things that mattered. He had balance. He had himself, but over time, slowly and silently, that version of him faded. He laughed less. He walked on eggshells more. He stopped going to the gym. He stopped. In the last chapter, we saw Lucius slowly losing himself, trading joy for silence, trading strength for survival. And now, we witness what happens when a man's entire life begins to orbit someone else's moods. Lucius stopped writing, stopped meditating, stopped doing the very things that once grounded him. His days became reactions to her emotions. Her ups and downs set the rhythm of his life. His choices, his schedule, even his energy bent around her convenience. One day, a close friend looked him in the eye and said, "You're not the same man anymore." And his mother? She asked softly, "Are you okay?" He smiled. He said he was fine, just tired, just busy. But deep down, Lucius knew he wasn't tired. He was lost. He had vanished inside a relationship that never truly saw him. Not the real him, only the version she could shape, silence, and control. Marcus Aurelius once warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And if your thoughts are constantly filled with, "How do I keep her happy? How do I avoid another argument? How do I keep this from falling apart?" Then slowly, without even noticing, your soul shifts. It dims to match the color of survival. Let that sink in for a second. You begin saying yes when you desperately want to say no. You avoid speaking up, not because you agree, but because you're exhausted by the fights. You start calling disrespect compromise. You let go of your hobbies, your boundaries, your voice. And worst of all, you start lying to yourself. That's how a man disappears, not all at once, but piece by piece. And here's the bitter truth. A woman who's using you doesn't want the real you. She wants the manageable version of you. The version who doesn't push back. The version she can guilt trip. The version who keeps giving, even when he's empty. So she chips away at you slowly. Your confidence, your spark, your freedom. Until one day, you look in the mirror and all that's left is a hollow version of yourself, desperately trying to keep someone else happy while quietly dying inside. But listen, really listen. You can come back. You can remember who you were before the anxiety, before the people-pleasing, before walking that emotional tightrope every single day. You were bold. You were steady. You were grounded in who you were. And guess what? You still are. Lucius walked away, not because he hated her, but because he realized something life-changing. He missed himself more than he missed her. Let me say that again because it matters. He missed himself more than he missed her. And maybe you're at that point too. Maybe you're done pretending. Maybe you're done shrinking, fading, bending just to be accepted. Maybe it's time to stop giving away your identity to someone who never really saw you to begin with. Because when love costs you your sense of self, that's not love. That's a slow erasing of your soul. And you deserve to come back to life. So, if even one of these 6 signs felt painfully familiar, don't ignore it. Don't minimize it. Don't whisper, "It's not that bad." That voice inside you, that quiet ache, that's your soul speaking. Listen to it. And now that you know the signs, what comes next? In the last part, we made a promise to rebuild, not just from heartbreak, but from the slow erosion of self-worth. And now, guided by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, it's time to reclaim your peace, your strength, your identity. Here are 10 Stoic truths to help you rise not as a reaction, but as a rebirth. 1. Don't let one person blind you to the world's beauty. There is still so much wonder left to see. Don't let one broken love make you forget that point too. You could leave life right now. Let that guide your thoughts, words, and actions. Stop wasting your energy on people who don't value your presence. Life is too short to beg for love. 3. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Don't seek revenge. Seek peace. Become so unshakable that their memory loses all power over you. 4. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Come back home to yourself. Reconnect with your soul, not for her, but for you. 5. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Choose courage over comfort. Now is the time, not next month, not when she changes. Right now. 6. Love only what happens, what was destined. There's no greater harmony than accepting the past. Don't fight it. Learn from it. Rise through it. 7. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. No more excuses, no more settling. Raise your standards not to punish others, but to protect yourself. 8. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Stop trying to control her. Control your focus, your thoughts, your boundaries. That's where true power lives. 9. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Guard your mind. Feed it strength, not sorrow. Clarity, not chaos. Direction, not desperation. 10. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Don't be fooled by appearances. Seek the truth, even if it hurts. Because truth leads to peace. Lucius could have stayed. He could have kept giving, kept fading, kept shrinking into a man he no longer recognized. But he didn't. He walked away not out of hate, but out of love. for himself, and so should you. If any of these signs felt familiar, don't shame yourself. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're waking up. Use that pain. Let it sharpen your vision. Let it raise your standards. Let it make you unbreakable. Because Stoicism isn't about shutting down emotions. It's about mastering your response. It's about choosing principle over pressure, truth over illusion, and peace over performance. So take a deep breath. Forgive yourself for staying too long. And now walk forward with clarity, with strength, with self-respect, because your peace is worth protecting, your soul is worth healing, and your future, it's waiting. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay powerful, and until next time.